Hi everyone, it's me. Welcome to today's video. It is that time of the month again already to choose our TBR for the next month. So we are going to be choosing our February TBR today. February is a very important month to me because it is my birthday month. And so I'm hoping to get some very good reads for the TBR. In terms of my focus for this month, I feel like I have been on such a good roll with continuing series, with finishing series. So I feel like I definitely want to get a lot of continuations of series on the monthly TBR today. And aside from that, I feel like in January, I had a really good balance of fantasy series that I wanted to continue or finish, and then reading literary or contemporary fiction sort of interchangeably throughout all of those fantasies. And I feel like that worked very well for me in January. So I want to do a similar thing in February. So without yapping too much, let's just get straight into it. So I have my TBR jar here. Of course, this is my new 2026 TBR jar. Let's just mix up some of these prompts. And as usual, we will start with a pink prompt. No need to break tradition. So here's a nice pink one right here. Oh, we have sprayed edges. This is fun. What sprayed edges do I even have? That's a sprayed edge. This is a sprayed edge. That's sprayed. Okay, I have 5 sprayed edges currently. So one of them is Saint by Adrienne Young. This is a fantasy standalone, but I think it belongs in a universe that she has where I think there's a duology, and then this is an interconnected standalone that exists in that world. But the little blurb for this says, a daring swashbuckling adventure complete with, no matter how hard they try to resist, a heaping helping of romance. So this I'm pretty sure is piratey. It's very seafaring. I did receive this from the publisher, so I haven't really fully looked into the synopsis of this one. But basically what I'm gathering from here is that we follow Elias, and 9 years ago his father got killed because of his lack of superstition. And because of that, Elias has now grown up very superstitious, very spiritual, very religious. And apparently his devotion to all of these myths has given him a reputation of the luckiest bastard to sail the Narrows. So now he is days away from getting a ship of his own, a crew of his own, and a license that names him one of the first Narrows-born traders. But when a young dredger from the unnamed sea with more than one secret crosses his path, Elias's faith will be tested like never before. And so he starts feeling this pull towards her, but as he feels pulled towards her, the further he drifts from the things he spent the last couple of years working for. And so he needs to decide whether to follow this pull to this girl or to stick to his beliefs that he has been living by all this time. So this definitely sounds interesting, and I have been looking to dive more into Adrienne Young, specifically her more fantasy forward books, because I've only read her mystery magical realism ones so far. So I'm curious about that one. And yeah, this one is just a plain black sprayed edge. This sprayed edge is a little bit nicer. This is also from Adrienne Young. This is Fallen City. I feel like I'm not going to choose this one though, because it is the start to a series and we're trying to finish series, right? So not gonna go with that one for now, but I am excited to read that one in the future. I also have Silver Cloak, which has this bright blue sprayed edge, which, gonna be entirely honest, not sure how I feel about this color of a plain sprayed edge. But this is Silver Cloak by L.K. Stephen, a fantasy with wands. We follow a group of thieves, I'm pretty sure, and the magic system has to do with levels of pain or how you feel pain. It's connected to pain in some way. And I've heard some really good things about this fantasy. I've heard it's very fun. The magic sounds very fun right off the bat, but this is also starting a new series, so I might hold off on this one for now. We could, though, continue a series. So I have Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mehrer, the second book that comes after Assistant to the Villain. I found Assistant to the Villain so much fun. I love those types of books that poke fun at specific genres, that don't take themselves too seriously, and I feel like that was exactly what Assistant to the Villain gave me. So I am looking forward to reading this next one, and I think amidst all of the heavier, darker fantasy reads that I normally normally get into. I feel like this one is just such a fun change of pace. We basically follow Evie, who at the beginning of the first book gets hired by a villain essentially, and she also just starts developing this major crush on him. And it's basically all of your romantasy tropes extremely exaggerated to the point where it reads almost like a satire. So this is actually a good option. This is just a very lightly sprayed edge. It's kind of a light purple, which I think honestly clashes a lot with the red cover, but hey, I'm not a book designer. And then my last sprayed edge is this lovely one. This is Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson, which is a series that I really want to get into as well, but we're gonna pass on it for now. I think my main two options for this are either Apprentice to the Villain or Saint. And I think I'm gonna choose Apprentice to the Villain just because, you know, as I mentioned, we're on a roll with continuing series and I want to be super productive with my series reading. So I'm gonna go with Apprentice to the Villain our first TBR pick. That one kind of threw me. I was not expecting to start off the TBR with that, but that's a lot of fun. Okay, that was a super fun one, but let's pick our second prompt. Okay, we have a blue. Ooh, this one's always a lot of fun. It says, great first sentence. So we're gonna have to read a couple of sentences. How do we start this? We can start this with just picking up books that I feel like I really do want to get into, and then we'll read the first sentences and then confirm if they hit or not, starting with Dark Age. Obviously, I feel like I'm on such a roll with this series and I want to continue. Like, I just want to keep reading it. Okay, this has a couple of different first lines though. I think I'm going to treat the prologue as the first actual page of the story. Or should I go to actual page one? Because these are technically not, like, they're not even numbered as pages in the book, you know? Should I like flip to real page one? Maybe I'll read both. I'll read the prologue first sentence and then the actual chapter one first sentence. So prologue sentence one is, a graveyard of Republic warships floats in the shadow of Mercury. I don't know if that's like really good or if it's just because of my excitement that I already have to go into this book that's making me be like, ooh, that was strong. Come on, a graveyard of Republic warships. And then the first line of chapter one, actual chapter one, is, I stand amidst the blind. I feel like I'm just so sold. I don't know if I'm biased, but those really hit. I have heard that Dark Age, a lot of you guys have been telling me that this is the darkest book in the series. It is the most tragic, I want to say, or traumatizing, or it's just the one that affects you the most emotionally. So I am terrified to go into this one, but equally parts excited because you guys know I love a dark, bleak, tragic read. So that's definitely an option. I think those are pretty good first sentences. I've actually been really curious about The Future Saints as well by Ashley Winstead because it's been advertised as for fans of Daisy Jones and the Six, and that is one of my favorite books. I absolutely love that one. So let's read this first sentence. So this follows a band and a band manager as they just go through lots of ups and downs that are caused by being in the music industry. So chapter one, page one, first line is, the woman on the stage is haunted. Ooh, I feel like that's really good too. So we're seeing Theo, that's the band manager character. That is his first glimpse of our female protagonist, I guess. That's really good too, guys. But I've also been curious to get back into thrillers this year. 2026 is the year that I reunite with a thriller, so let's try Best Offer Wins by Marissa Cashino. This one is about an unhinged homebuyer basically who decides to befriend a family before their house listing goes public in the hopes that if she like infiltrates and gets close to this family, she will be the first in line to be able to buy their house. And I feel like that premise is giving a lot of space for a lot of unhinged moments and circumstances, and I can see the character like spiraling down. I can see that development happening very well in a book like this. But first line of this one is, Ginny calls around 10 just as I'm hanging up with a client. Okay, that didn't really hit as hard as the other two first sentences that I've read, but that's okay. That's okay. We start that book out a little more simple, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the book isn't gonna hit. But I think we're in between The Future Saints and The Dark Age, and I think I'm gonna have to choose The Dark Age. I think I was already set with that one. Like my mind was just set. That was basically my one mandatory read that I wanted to get on board for February. So that's number 2. Let's go with prompt 3. Let's see what we get. We have another pink one, and this one just says hardcover. Okay, this gives me a lot of options. I do own a lot of hardcovers. The Future Saints is definitely a hardcover. Also, The Best Offer Wins. I've been curious about this one too. The hardcover prompt is amazing because I am such an avid Book of the Month user that I feel like a lot of these thrillers or fiction books probably would be paperback if I got a lot of these in store or the regular print of them. I feel like a lot of these types of books tend to come in paperback, but because I have the Book of the Month editions of a lot of these books, they all come in hardcover because all Book of the Months are hardcover. But I've been curious about this one, Before I Forget by Tori Henwood Hohen. This is a literary fiction that plays with memory. So our protagonist has a father who is starting to lose his memory, and so she goes to move in with him and to help him, take care of him, all of that. But they realize as he continues to lose his memories, he starts being able to see the future as well. So he is losing memories of the past, but gaining these insights into the future. And as they continue on through the story, this becomes something that obviously is tricky to navigate, that introduces all sorts of different issues and problems and things come up. This story, I think, is heartwarming, it's touching, it's, I think, an emotional read, but also lightly humorous as well. And I'm just really curious to pick this one up as well. I think the premise just sounds wonderful to me. You guys know I love a memory book. I love playing with the idea and the theme of memory. So these 3 are very strong contenders at this point. I think I am leaning towards one of these 2. I think I'm gonna do The Future Saints. No, I'm gonna do Before I Forget. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick this one. Yes, I could always pick up The Future Saints when I want to. Oh, the back of this book says the best love stories are the ones you least expect. I love that. Now I'm sad. I don't know what to do. No, I'm gonna pick up The Future Saints. And I could also probably pick up Before I Forget at some point this month too. Okay, put the books back on the cart, Jamie, before you change your mind again. But I settled on The Future Saints for hardcover. Sometimes when the prompts are so vague, so open, it makes it even harder. I honestly love a more particular TBR prompt because it makes my life easier because I have decision paralysis. Okay, we have a teal, aqua. Oh, this is kind of perfect. This just says continue a series. I already have 2 different continuations of series on the TBR, but why not add another one? So our 4th pick could either be, I have the 4th Bridgerton's book. I also have A Sky Beyond the Storm, which would finish off this quartet. And I have The Mask Falling by Samantha Shannon to continue that series. And actually, behind here, I have Heat of the Everflame by Penn Cole. Surprise! I do actually own this book now. A lovely subscriber, one of you sent this to me. Thank you so much, Katie, for sending this to me. I'm always so grateful when I receive books from you guys. It is literally the greatest gift ever, and I don't deserve your kindness, but thank you so much, Katie, for sending this to me, because you guys know I have been wanting to pick this book up for the longest time, but every time I've seen it on the shelves, whatever, it's just like circumstances. It's never been the right time for me to pick up this book and actually buy it. So the fact that you went out and did it for me is wonderful, and I can never thank you enough. So thank you, Katie, for sending Heat of the Everflame to me. That is definitely a series I could continue as well. This is, though, quite a chunky read, and I already have Dark Age on the TBR, which I think is quite a chunky read in itself. So I may save this one for another month, but incredibly grateful for that one. I think the series I have to continue, though, is the Ember Quartet, because I am on the last book in the series. If I read this, it'll finish it off. I've also been really on a roll with continuing the series month after month. It's time. It's time to conclude this one. So this is going to be my 4th book on the TBR for continuing a series. All right, and we only have one more prompt to go. Let's make it a good one. I feel like I have quite a bit of fantasy slash sci-fi on the TBR, so I want this last one to be real world. So hopefully we get a prompt that will allow us to do that. Okay, we have a yellow one, fingers crossed. Ooh, okay. This one says out of comfort zone. So, interesting. We could go a couple ways with this one. So we could do, on one hand, thriller, which sounds, you know, like it wouldn't really be out of most people's comfort zones, but because of my history with thrillers and how I had a little breakup with them, I feel like thrillers are a little bit out of my comfort zone at this point. So I could go Best Offer Wins, or I also do have My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. Those are the two thrillers that I have on my TBR. My Husband's Wife sounds really interesting too, because we follow our protagonist as she goes out for her regular daily morning run, but when she comes back home from her run, expecting everything to be normal, she finds that her locks have been changed. And so when she knocks on the door or rings the doorbell or whatever, a different woman, a random woman, answers the door. She's like, oh, I actually own this house. But then the other woman's like, no, I actually live here. This is my house. And her real husband is actually in there, and her husband is also insisting like, hey, you're a stranger. I don't know you. This is my real wife. Like the fake wife is actually the real wife, and sounds like a big mess. And I need to know what is going on with that. So thriller could be out of my comfort zone. I have this memoir, which I think is definitely out of my comfort zone. This is Semi Well Adjusted by Alison Stoner, a memoir of her experience of being young in the entertainment industry and the things she went through as a child star. I don't typically read a lot of nonfiction, so this could technically be out of my comfort zone. Is there anything else that isn't in my comfort zone? I feel like everything else is in my comfort zone, so we could go either thriller or we could go memoir. I feel like technically memoir is probably a little bit more out of my comfort zone, so I think we're gonna go with that. I like that. A little bit of a wild card choice in this TBR. So fifth book out of my comfort zone, I'm gonna choose Semi Well Adjusted by Alison Stoner. I'm actually very, very curious. I'm very excited to read this one, and I think that's wonderful because it does add a little bit of variety to my usual TBR. Is that 5 books already? That is 5 books already. I feel like we powered through that today. I feel like I say that every month when I do my TBRs. I feel like I just have so much fun doing TBR videos that they pass by so quickly. But okay, these are the official 5 books of the February TBR. So just to recap, for a book out of my comfort zone, I have this memoir by Alison Stoner, Semi Well Adjusted. For continuing a series, I have A Sky Beyond the Storm by Sabaa Tahir, which will finish off the Ember Quartet. For a hardcover, I chose The Future Saints by Ashley Winstead, a book that is comparable to Daisy Jones and the Six. For a great first sentence, I have Dark Age by Pierce Brown. And for a sprayed edge, I have Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayrer. So this will definitely give me a nice varied reading month. Obviously, I do read more than 5 books a month as well, but I feel like this is a good base to jump off from. We have some fantasy series, continuing series, we have a dark sci-fi, we have a more humorous series to continue, we have a general fiction, and we also have a memoir, which is, as you guys know, very rare to see on one of my TBRs. So I'm really happy with that actually. I feel like this, will make for a really great reading month, but that being said, that is the February TBR. So I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, please leave me a like and a comment. If you don't know what to comment down below, let me know what is on your February TBR. If you like me, subscribe, do that bell thing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!